Start with a little prayer. Lord, we thank you for the assurance of your love in each and every one of our hearts, and your guidance and strong, protective hands and arms around us. Amen.
Amen.
How many of you in elementary school or any time in your life put together a time capsule? Maybe it was a box or a tube, and you buried it in the ground, and you hope somebody would find it 40, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. I think that was the thing to do in elementary school for me. And I remember agonizing what to put in that box, you know, and then I think actually the school buried it somewhere in the grounds. Many years ago, I also had a tour of JPL. How many people have toured JPL? Yeah. If you have that opportunity, it's exciting. It's fascinating. And one of the things they had at the very beginning of the tour was this golden disc. And it was like a replica of, well, maybe they made two. Maybe this is the second one. But the other one they sent with Voyager. And it's out beyond the stars right now. But on this disc, they made a record. Basically, it was a CD, so it had images and sounds of what they wanted somebody to find in the future about our humanity. It's quite a massive kind of mental idea. They had on this desk DNA, how DNA is. They had the fetus growing. They had different animals on there, different, like a whale call, different trees. So they were trying to communicate to whoever found this golden disc who we were and who we are. And there also was a placard that came with the disc, and it had hieroglyphics on it. Well, it looked to me like hieroglyphics. And they asked, what was it? Well, what it was how to make the record player to play the disc to find out what humanity was all about. And I mean, if it were left up to me, nobody would know who humanity was. I mean, and then also there's this little thing going on in my brain going, well, if the people who found it, how would they have eyes and ears like us to hear and see what we had on the disc too? But that was just, you know, I think that was kind of my human mind. And that's kind of where faith comes in. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for. So here this was sent out, and now it's way beyond the galaxies. And again, like the little time box that you buried in the ground, you would hope, you have faith that when you buried it, you have faith when you sent it off, that somebody would find this, that somebody would open this, and somebody would treasure what was in there. I remember when I was 17, I went to college at Clemson, South Carolina. I grew up in New York. My parents moved to Boulder City, Nevada. And I had 2 crates that I packed all my childhood in. And one of the crates, they were like little orange crates, and it was a house. I had stuffed mice, little stuffed bears. Or they were mice. They were stuffed little stuffed mice. And I had made this house, and I out of this crate, and I had different levels. I had made all the furniture. So, like, remember the little matchboxes? Yeah, so I glued them together, and they were the drawers. I had a little piece of wooden, just a little driftwood piece I found on the beach, and then the wooden spools. They had wooden spools, not plastic back then, and I glued it, and then I sewed all the bed sheets, and I made all the furniture. I spent hours on this little house of making this, and I packed it up at the end of 17. I went off to college. I put all my precious things in there. I nailed it shut, and it went off to Boulder City with my parents. And 20 years later, my mom decided, let's give this back to her. And so here comes my 2 childhood crates back to me, and I gleefully undid them, remembering all these precious memories and hours and everything I had packed into this stuff. And it just the reality of what greeted me was so far below my memory. I cannot tell I was like, wow, I thought this was special. I mean, I spent hours doing this, and this is what it was. You know, in my mind, it was like, wow. So now let's take this leap of, you know, mental consciousness, if you will. And let's suppose that we have a time capsule of our soul, of our memories, of our heart's desires. And anybody remember the bank account? You go into a bank, you put the money in, it goes somewhere in the building. I don't think they have those anymore, but if you can mentally imagine that there is a bank account up with God, and you have this like soul capsule there, okay? And you have, let's say you put a special memory in. It doesn't all have to be at once, like your time capsule that you bury or whoever you send off in outer space. But all of a sudden you have a very special memory, and you put that memory in the soul capsule, the capsule of faith, the time capsule of faith, and it goes up to God. And so you have all these wonderful, cherished memories, events, people, interactions, pets, all these things that have no tangibility. They are intangible, they're kind of frail out there in the fringes, and you send them up to God, and you have this faith that God will protect them and store them for you and give them back to you when He sees you up there. So that is faith in God, and faith also goes extending beyond the fact that He's going to protect all these special memories for you, but also that He loves each and every single one of us, and that we prepare for Him like, we might see Him tomorrow, the next day, like the thief in the night. You don't know when the thief is going to break in, so you always are prepared. So faith is the assurance of things hoped for, knowing that God deeply loves each and every single one of us. Amen.